Hi, friend. Welcome to the Healing Table. I'm your host, Charnette Kemp. Pull up a chair. Let the healing begin.
There's hope for tomorrow with you. There's joy in sorrow. There is no greater love.
So the Healing Table was really created to help us discuss issues and areas of struggle, silent struggles that sometimes we hide, sometimes we simply just smile and no one knows that inside you're hurting, that something happened or something is happening and you've lost control, and so you don't know where to turn. And so the Healing Table was birthed out of my own struggle, my own personal need to have conversations, intimate conversations that would allow you to address certain intimate parts of yourself. My special guest is you, of course, and the Holy Spirit. Let's begin. Today, we're going to be talking about healing the little girl inside. What does that mean? The one who got hurt before you became an adult. The one who learned how to smile even though inside she was crying. The one who learned how to put on the MAC makeup and the nice hair and all that stuff. You know that girl. Before she goes to work, and when she sits in her car and gets at the office or wherever she is, she's smiling, but inside she's hurting. And so this little girl has grown up, become a beautiful woman, but is still hurting. Silently, she's hurting, hoping that someone would show up for her, show up and help her tell her story, or even help her figure out how to navigate those waters. For me, the little girl showed up after I had been given so much. I get given so much of myself in ministry and relationship, and then suddenly everything that I thought was stable crumbled. And so I found myself bleeding in the house of the Lord. Not physically bleeding, but emotionally bleeding. The Bible talks about this woman who physically she was bleeding, but can we use a metaphoric perspective today? And this woman was a woman, she had an issue of blood in the house of the Lord, but she was bleeding. And a lot of us are in church or at work or at school or wherever we found ourselves throughout our life. A lot's going on, but inside we're bleeding. And there needs to be a moment when the bleeding has to stop. One of the things I want us to talk about is how do we get that bleeding to stop? And so even though the little girl isn't about an age, it's really more about a moment when someone you trusted or when something happened that caused you to stop, to freeze, and you weren't able to emotionally move from that part. That's the part that we want to talk about today, and strategies on how to acknowledge the pain and to allow yourself to move from that place. Some of the questions for anyone who has been wounded before and you're a little bit stuck emotionally, some of the things you ask yourself: am I enough? Am I worthy? Will anyone ever see me? Will anyone ever care about what's going on in the inside? And here's what some of the things that I've learned is strategy number one: you can't heal what you hide. As long as you're hiding it, as long as you keep it inside and no one knows what's happening, then it can't be addressed. You're hiding it. And can I say to you that it's okay to begin to allow it to be seen? Another strategy is you can't nurture something that you're neglecting. If you're neglecting it, you can't nurture it. And so some of these things that we have to begin to do is we have to begin to pay attention to the voice inside. Give it a name. Where did it come from? Where did it start? For me, a few years ago, mine was rejection. I felt so rejected. And so what did I do? As a result of that, I was angry. I was bitter. And so I had to name it. I had to go back into my thoughts, and I had to go back into those moments when things stopped, and I gave it a name. It was rejection. I felt rejection. I felt wounded. I felt not enough. And those type of thoughts, those are the thoughts that keep us trapped, because there is a root to everything that you're thinking. The reason why you're thinking, there's a root. And so I had to do the work. I had to go back. What did that work look like? Going back to the moment, identifying what I was hiding, identifying the part of me I was neglecting. If we ignore those parts of us, if we ignore the fact that we've been hurt and we've been wounded, we would remain stuck. Can I say to you today, I want to give you the courage to begin to identify it. I want to give you the courage to begin to go into yourself and put a name on it. Name it. Anger, betrayal, disappointment, hurt, frustration. Name it. Whatever it is, give it a name, and then allow yourself to begin to feel the pain. One of the things I found out is you can't love anyone deeply if you've not yet settled the war inside of your own self. You've got to become at peace within your own self in order for you to be able to extend that love that you're so full of to someone else. One day, I decided, I remember I had a conversation with God, and I said, I'm just tired. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of living in the narrative that says I'm not good enough. I'm tired of living in the narrative that says I'm not worthy. And so I started to do the work. I started to pay attention to what was happening within myself. I started to pay attention to what was happening in my heart. I started to pay attention to triggers. We're going to talk about that too. And so I started to pay attention. And as soon as I started to pay attention, I challenged every lie that had become a thought pattern in my head with the truth. And what was the truth? The truth is, I was enough. The truth is, I am worthy. The truth is, I'm good. The truth is, I have a good heart. The truth is, I am not rejected. I am loved. And so I began to embrace what was my truth. And embracing those truths, then I started to heal the little girl that was stuck in a moment of rejection, stuck in a moment of pain, stuck in a moment of not worthy. And I started to tell her, girl, get up. You're worthy. You're good enough. You're strong enough. You're smart enough. You are intelligent enough. You could hold your own. You're pretty. You're all of this. And so I want to challenge you to begin to tell yourself the truth. The truth is, you are good enough. The truth is, you are smart enough. The truth is, you're intelligent enough. The truth is, you're pretty enough. The truth is, you are the perfect extension of God in the earth. There's nobody else like you. Girl, clock back. Nobody else like you. Only one of you. Only one as pretty as you. Only one like you. So the final thing I want to tell you today, you know when the healing started for me? When I stopped defending the pain. When I stopped giving myself a reason why I'm feeling this way, and begin to acknowledge it and begin to sit in why I'm feeling this way and where did this come from. And once I started to do that and pull those walls down, I allowed Charnette to step out. And when she came out, that was one of the most beautiful revelations I got. And so I want the same thing for you. So there's some practical things that you could do to kind of begin the process of healing the little girl inside of you. The first thing, like I've said, you have to acknowledge that she exists. You have to acknowledge the pain. You can't hide it. You have to acknowledge it. And one of the things I did, what was so very helpful for me, was I wrote a letter to my younger self. And I told her that she wasn't a bad person. I told her everything I was feeling. I told her she didn't have to feel that way. She didn't have to be so angry. And I told her some things. I wrote a letter to her. And that took me some time. And as I sat in there, I started to cry and I started to allow the healing in. Another thing I did was I invited God into my memory and I prayed and I said, God, bring to my memory some of the things I may have forgotten or intentionally forgotten so that I could begin to address them. I didn't want to walk around hidden. I didn't want to walk around any longer angry or bitter. I wanted more. And so I asked him, please come into my memory, go into my thoughts, help me to heal it. And then one of the things I also did was I started speaking to myself every single day. I looked into the mirror and I told myself, you're safe, you're smart. And I began affirming myself. And those were some of the strategies that I did. And then you have to begin to let her know that you're okay. I didn't have a safe group. If there's a safe group in your area, like a girls group where you can connect with another woman or another person, and that's a good idea. Or I didn't have one, so what did I do? I created one, and it's called the Get Up and Live program. So if you're in the Luther area and you want to be a part of that, join me. It's a safe spot to be able to allow your heart to be healed and allow your heart to be heard. Another thing that I did was I started to pay attention to things that would trigger me, things that would make me feel afraid, things that would make me second guess myself. I started to pay attention to those. And so every single time I felt insecure or overwhelmed or just really shy, or in that moment I would sit in and I begin to ask myself, where is this coming from? And so I identify those. And once I started to identify those triggers, when triggers started to come at me, I started to recognize where it was coming from. And so I didn't have to respond like how I would usually respond. And then finally, give yourself permission to love yourself. Give yourself permission to say to yourself, I deserve my own love. Before I could give anybody else love, I gotta love me. And so I did that. And so I started to pay attention to things I like, things I didn't like. And I gave myself permission to accept Charnette, perfectly imperfect. And so those were some of the tips I used. I hope you could use those tips, and I hope you can join me again as we begin to continue our discussion on how we will move, how we will heal. Because I believe this season of our life is a season where healing is not just something that you want, but it's necessary. It's necessary for your true self to be seen, heard, and for you to walk into the beauty of who you are. Because this world needs what you got, girl. This world needs what you got. We need you. And so allow us to be a part of your journey. Allow us to be a part of what God is doing in your life. So I want you to be a part of the Charnette Camp Transformational Network. I want you to like it. Come on, like it. Go on, press it. Like. Quick like. Don't stop. Click subscribe. Right. If you want content like this, practical content from real life people who walk through real life situations and who figured it out, strategies to be able to overcome. There is greatness inside of you, and the best version of you is waiting to pop out. So join me on this journey of becoming whole, becoming healed, becoming whatever you've been designed in the earth to be. So I want to see you next week, and we're going to continue the conversation. Come close. This is your season for healing. This is your season for deliverance. This is your season where you are supposed to walk into the beauty of who you are. The world needs what you got. They need your essence, your flavor, your authenticity. We need that. So come on, let's do the work together. Practical tips, practical strategies on how to make the next step. I'm here with you, so you're not alone, okay? See you next week on the healing table. Bye, sweet friends. Boom.